We all have it, we all want it, we're all never more human than when it's happening. There's no sexual experience that isn't deeply fascinating. I mean, Stephen Elliott writes about sexual experiences that are cruel, that are sort of trauma play, where the sex doesn't mean a lot because both people are really faking. But even that is a brutally profound experience. And then there's sex that you're really invested in, whatever combination of your body and mind are invested in it. When the characters get naked in a room and their parts are excited, their brains and hearts are part of that, the biggest part of that. You're never more alive to your doubt and hope and disappointment and rage than when you're in that setting. Why are you skipping over that? For me, I'm interested in places where people are emotionally naked on the page, when they're in danger. If it's a romance, a big part of how people reveal who they are and aren't is when they're naked and they're going to have sex. Whatever that form of sex is. It could be sex in your mind, the fantasy of sex. But, you know, Freud was right. Maybe he's wrong around the edges, but he was basically right. We're sexual aggressive creatures, and we spend most of our time constructing these elaborate defense mechanisms that protect us from the power of those impulses. He was just right. And I don't see, as an artist, but just more broadly as a person, what good is done by building monuments to the lesser defense mechanisms. It's just like, why skip over the most interesting part so that I can see the scene the next morning with the rumpled bed sheets and the orange juice that's curdled? Like, come on, dude. She had boobs. You had a cock. Let's go. But I mean, that makes it sound coarse. And you also had an emotional life and a heart and a mind that was racing when it was all happening. So it's kind of like being a feeling junkie. You feel a lot. Even if it's not the traditional, I'm turned on, this is hot. In fact, sex is interesting because of everything else that's going on. You know, it's a moment where two characters or more, or just one character alone with his or her sexual desires and hopes and you know, shame, is having a very intense, often painful or conflicted experience. That's sort of my job, is to capture that. Happens in lots of different settings, but pretty dependably happens when sex is involved.